The woman walking toward my table was not my blind date. She was Amanda. For almost 3 years, I had dated her daughter, Sophie. I stood up so fast, my knee hit the bottom of the table. Amanda stopped beside the empty chair across from me, one hand still holding the strap of her purse. She looked as surprised as I felt, which somehow made it worse. "Luke," she said. "Amanda." Neither of us sat down. The restaurant was small and loud, all dark wood and tiny tables packed close together. My friend Joe had picked it because he said it was easygoing, but not cheap. At that moment, I wanted to throw my phone through the front window and make him explain himself. Amanda glanced at the chair. "Did you know?" "No." I pulled out my phone. "Did you?" She gave me a look that said I should know better than to ask that. I called Joe. Straight to voicemail. Amanda called her friend Denise. Same thing. That told us enough. For a few seconds, we just stood there, two adults who should have known how to handle an uncomfortable moment, acting like we had been dropped into somebody else's life. Then Amanda let out one short breath through her nose. They really did this. Apparently, I'm going to have a very direct conversation with Denise. Joe may need to change his number. That got the smallest smile out of her. It disappeared quickly, but I saw it. Amanda sat down first. "One drink," she said. "Then we leave." I refused to give them the satisfaction of us making a scene. I sat across from her. One drink. I had known Amanda for years, but only in the way you know someone's mother when you are dating her daughter. Holiday dinners, a graduation party, a few Sunday lunches where Sophie and I showed up late because she wanted to stop somewhere first. Amanda had always been polite to me, calm, put together, never rude. But there was distance. I used to think she saw me as temporary, like I was one of those people Sophie would outgrow. Now she was sitting across from me in a black jacket, looking more tired than I remembered, and somehow more real. The server came over, and we both ordered the same thing: sparkling water with lime. That made Amanda look at me again. "What?" I asked. "Nothing. I just remember Sophie used to complain that you ordered boring drinks." I laughed once. She complained about a lot of things. The second I said it, I regretted it. I did not want this to become a conversation where we picked apart Sophie. Amanda seemed to understand that. "She did," she said quietly. "But that did not mean she was wrong all the time." "I know." The drinks arrived. I stared at mine for a second, then said the thing I had been trying not to say. "I never expected to see you here." "I did not expect to be here either." "No, I mean like this." Amanda nodded. "I know what you meant." There was another silence. Not the kind where you are searching for a clever thing to say. The kind where both people are wondering whether they should leave before something gets harder. Then Amanda folded her hands on the table. "I always thought you were too quiet for Sophie," she said. "That stung more than it should have." "I know, but I did not think you were a bad man." I looked up. She kept going before I could answer. I thought she wanted someone who would chase the next thing with her. Bigger plans, louder plans, trips every month, people around all the time. You wanted something steadier. Neither of you was wrong. You just kept trying to make the other person want the same life. I had spent more than a year after the breakup thinking I had failed Sophie because I did not become the man she seemed to be waiting for. Hearing her mother say it, that simply made my chest feel tight. "I thought I let her down," I said. Amanda's face changed a little. Softer, maybe. "Luke, Sophie has a way of leaving first when she thinks someone might disappoint her. She has done that with jobs, friends, even cities. She gets restless before anyone gets the chance to stay." I looked down at the lime floating in my glass. "You make it sound like I should not have taken it personally. You were in love with her. Of course you took it personally." That was the first moment the night stopped feeling like a prank. We talked for another hour. Not about romance. Not really. We talked about work. Amanda ran events for companies and nonprofit groups, which explained why she always looked composed, even when everyone else was running around. I told her about the tiny apartment I had finally made myself stop apologizing for. She told me she hated cooking, but owned too many cookbooks because people kept giving them to her. When we stood outside afterward, the city felt colder than it had earlier. Amanda looked at me carefully. This was strange. That is one word for it. But I am glad we stayed. I nodded. Me too. She did not hug me. I did not try to. She got into her car, and I watched her pull away before I called Joe. He answered on the third ring. Before you say anything, he started, I think you two might actually... You set me up with Sophie's mother. I know. You knew exactly what you were doing. I knew you both needed somebody who would not waste your time. I hung up. 3 days passed. Then, late on a Tuesday night, my phone lit up with a message from Amanda. I keep thinking about how easy it was to talk to you. I stared at it long enough that the screen went dark. Then I typed back, Me too. That is probably the problem. Her reply came almost immediately. Coffee Saturday? No labels. No secrets. No pretending Sophie will not be part of the situation. I wrote, okay, but we set rules. Saturday morning, we met at a coffee shop halfway between our neighborhoods. By the time we left, we had rules. No hiding from the people close to us. No calling it a relationship. No crossing lines we had not discussed. No acting like Sophie's feelings did not matter. And one more rule Amanda insisted on. We would meet once with someone who dealt with complicated family boundaries. Not for permission, just honesty. A week later, we sat in a quiet office while a counselor listened to our story without reacting once. When we finished, she leaned forward and asked one question. Are you interested in each other? She said. Or are you interested in the version of yourselves that shows up because this feels unexpected? Amanda looked at me. I looked back at her. Neither of us answered. So we made one final agreement. 6 weeks. We would see what happened when we stopped treating this like an impossible mistake and started treating it like something that had to survive real life. The first real test came 10 days into our 6 weeks. It was my friend Marcus's birthday, which meant a crowded bar, too much food nobody ordered, and the same group of people I had known since college, pretending they still had the energy for midnight plans. Amanda almost said no. She stood in my entryway in dark jeans and a soft gray sweater, checking herself in the mirror by the door without making it obvious. You do not have to come, I told her. I know. You can still change your mind. She looked at me. Luke, I have coordinated conferences with 500 people, 3 missing speakers, and a hotel manager having a breakdown in a storage closet. I can survive your friends. That does not make me feel better. It was not meant to. At the bar, she was better at it than I was. That was the problem. Within 15 minutes, Amanda knew who Marcus was dating, which friend was secretly trying to switch jobs, and why my friend Kelly had stopped speaking to her sister for 2 months. She did not force herself into conversations. She just listened properly. People noticed. Marcus gave her a hug like he had known her forever. Kelly asked where she got her boots. Even Joe, who had been avoiding my eyes since the blind date, looked relieved that Amanda did not seem ready to throw a drink at him. For a while, I thought maybe we had made the whole thing bigger in our heads than it needed to be. Then, Trevor showed up late. Trevor was not a bad guy. That made it worse. He was one of those people who thought being loud counted as being funny. He saw Amanda standing beside me near the table where everyone had left their jackets. "Oh," he said, grinning. "So this is the mystery woman." I already did not like his tone. Amanda held out her hand. "Amanda." He shook it, then looked at me. "Man, you really went for someone with life experience." The room changed immediately. Nobody laughed. Not properly. Marcus looked down at his drink. Kelly's face tightened. Amanda did not react at all. She just gave Trevor a polite little smile, like he had introduced himself badly at a business dinner. And I froze. It was maybe 3 seconds, maybe 4, but I felt every one of them. Finally, I said, "That was unnecessary." Trevor raised both hands. "Relax, I was joking." Amanda touched my arm lightly. "I'm going to get some water." She walked away before I could say anything else. Trevor started talking again, trying to fix it, but I barely heard him. I stood there angry at him, angry at myself, and mostly angry because I knew she had seen the delay. Later, when we left, Amanda did not bring it up until we were in my car. The streetlights moved across her face as we drove. "I should have said something sooner," I told her. "Yes," she said. "No soft landing, no pretending." I did say something. "After you watched everyone decide whether they were allowed to laugh." I gripped the steering wheel. "That is fair." She looked out the window. "I do not need you to start fights for me, Luke. I do not need some big performance. But I cannot date a man who lets other people turn me into a joke because he is worried about making things awkward." Write in the comments, was Amanda right to expect Luke to defend her immediately, or was she being too hard on him for freezing when everyone was watching? I was not worried about awkward. Then what were you worried about? I did not have a good answer. Because the truth was, I had been shocked. Not by Trevor being careless, by the fact that somebody had said out loud what I knew people were thinking. Amanda nodded slowly, like my silence answered her anyway. The next week, I went with her to a professional dinner downtown. Amanda had warned me it would be formal without being formal, which meant everybody wore expensive clothes, but acted like they had thrown them on without thinking. She introduced me to people who worked with venues, charities, hotel groups, city offices. Everyone seemed to know her. I watched her move through the room like she belonged there because she did. She remembered names. She asked specific questions. She made people feel important without making herself smaller. Then a man named Scott came over. He was probably in his 50s. Silver hair, perfect suit, the kind of person who shook hands like he was closing a deal. "Amanda," he said warmly. "Good to see you. And who is this? New on your team?" Amanda paused, just for a second, but she paused. "This is Luke," she said. "He is with me tonight." Scott smiled at me. "Smart move. Amanda is the best person to learn from in this city." He moved on before I could answer. I tried to let it go. I really did. But by the time we got outside, I could not. "You could have corrected him," I said. Amanda stopped walking. "Corrected what?" "That I was your date." Her face tightened. "Luke, it was one sentence in a crowded room. You let him think I was your employee." I did not let him think anything. I did not want to make the whole conversation about us. So I got erased. That's not fair. It is how it felt. She crossed her arms. "Do you know what it feels like to walk into a room full of people who have known you for 20 years and understand exactly what they will say once you leave?" "I'm starting to." "No, you are starting to notice it. That is different." We stood on the sidewalk, both too upset to walk away and too proud to apologize first. Finally, Amanda said, "I am scared people will look at me and think I have become foolish." I looked at her. She went on, quieter now. "Not because you are younger, because they will assume I should know better than to want something complicated." That took some of the fight out of me. "I am scared you are ashamed of me," I said. Amanda's expression changed. "I am not," she said, "but I am scared of being seen, and I hate that I am." 2 days later, we went back to the counselor, who, this time, nobody sat politely. Amanda brought up the question neither of us wanted to touch. What happens if Luke wants children someday? The counselor looked at me. I could have lied. I could have said no just to make the room easier. Instead, I said, I do not know. Amanda closed her eyes briefly. I am 29, I said. I cannot promise I will never want that. But I also cannot pretend I want it right now, just because people expect me to. Amanda nodded, but it hurt her anyway. I could see it. I cannot build my life around a future you might decide you want later, she said. I know. For the first time, 6 weeks did not feel like a careful plan. It felt short. That evening, Amanda called Sophie. She did not ask me to be there. Afterward, she texted me only 4 words. She knows. She is hurt. I stared at the message for a long time before replying. Tell her I understand. Amanda answered a minute later. She asked for distance. I wrote back. Then she gets distance. And for the first time since that blind date, I understood that whatever was happening between Amanda and me was no longer private enough to pretend it only belonged to us. Amanda invited me to Nashville 3 days after she told Sophie. Not in a big romantic way. She sent a message while I was at work. My college friend is having her 40th birthday next weekend. I was supposed to go alone. Do you want to come? I read it twice before answering. Are you sure? Her reply came fast. No, but I think that is why I am asking. The flight was early Saturday morning. Amanda barely talked while we waited at the gate. She kept checking her phone even though Sophie had not called or texted since their conversation. You can still stay here, she said. I know this is not exactly your crowd. You mean people who own luggage that costs more than my car? That made her smile. I mean people who have known me since I was 19. Then I should go. Why? Because I do not want us to only exist in places where nobody can look at us. She nodded, but I could tell that answer made her nervous. Nashville was loud from the minute we got there. There were bachelor parties on every corner, music spilling out of open doors, people in boots taking photos outside places they probably did not even want to enter. Amanda's friend Brenda had rented a large house near downtown for the weekend. By the time we arrived, half the group was already gathered in the kitchen with drinks and name tags nobody was wearing. Brenda hugged Amanda hard. You made it. Then she saw me. And this must be Luke. Amanda introduced me without hesitation. Yes, Luke is here with me. I appreciated that more than I said. At first, everyone was friendly. Too friendly, maybe. The kind of friendly where people ask questions that sound casual, but are clearly meant to give them information. What do you do? How long have you two known each other? Did you meet through work? Amanda answered some questions. I answered others. Neither of us mentioned Sophie. Then, a woman named Laura leaned against the counter beside Amanda and said, So, are you having fun before you get serious again? She said it with a smile, like she had handed Amanda a compliment. The room went quiet in that subtle way people think they are hiding. Amanda did not raise her voice. I am serious about my life, she said, including the parts you do not understand. Laura blinked. I did not mean anything by it. I know, Amanda said. That is usually the problem. Brenda changed the subject immediately, but the moment stayed with me. Later, when Amanda and I were alone in our room, I asked if she was okay. She was standing in front of the mirror, taking off an earring. I am used to it, she said. That does not make it okay. No, it just means I know how to keep moving. I wanted to say something better. Something that would make her feel defended without making her feel weak. Instead, I said, I hate that they think you need permission to enjoy your own life. Amanda looked at me through the mirror. Do you know what I hate? She asked. What? That part of me almost believed her. The next morning, we all went to a rooftop brunch. It was crowded, bright, and too warm for the amount of people packed around small tables. Amanda sat beside Brenda, laughing at something I did not catch. For a while, she looked lighter. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I glanced down without thinking. It was a call from Mia. I had seen Mia casually for a few months after Sophie and I broke up. Nothing serious. We had stopped talking a long time ago, but her name was still in my phone. I let the call ring out. When I looked up, Amanda had seen it. She did not say anything. That was worse. For the rest of brunch, she became polite in a way I recognized. She kept smiling. She answered questions. But she stopped touching my arm when she talked. She stopped looking for me across the table. That night, back at the hotel, she sat on one side of the bed with her shoes still on. "You could have answered it," she said. "I did not want to." "But you could have." I sat across from her. "Amanda, it was just someone I used to see. I know that." "Then why are we doing this?" Her face went still. "Because you have a whole life where things can be simple again. You can call someone else. You can meet someone younger. You can decide this got too complicated and walk away without anyone asking why. That's not what I am doing." "No, but it is what you can do." I felt my temper rise, mostly because I was tired of being treated like I had already made choices I had not made. "You cannot keep punishing me because someone else left you," I said. Amanda looked down. The second I said it, I knew I had gone too far. But she looked back at me anyway. "And you cannot expect me to trust a future you have not even decided you want." Neither of us spoke after that. We did not sleep together. We barely slept at all. The next morning, we flew home separately. Amanda had changed her ticket before I woke up. For 4 days, I did not hear from her. I kept opening our message thread, typing things, deleting them. Every version sounded wrong. Too defensive, too dramatic, too late. Then, on the 5th night, I got a voice message. Her voice was quiet. "I have been thinking about what the counselor asked us," she said. "Who we are around each other. Around you, I do not feel younger. I feel less invisible. And I do not want to lose that, because I am scared." The message paused for a second. Then she added, "I know you are scared too." I listened to it 3 times before I called her. She answered on the first ring. Neither of us apologized right away, but neither of us hung up. Amanda called me the next morning. "I found us a train," she said. "That sounds serious." "It is Chicago. 3 days. My friend Ashley is moving her bookstore to a new space, and she needs help. Boxes, shelves, probably bad coffee." I smiled even though she could not see it. "That is your sales pitch?" "It is not a vacation." "I know." There was a pause. Then she said, "That is why I want you to come." The train left early Friday. Amanda arrived with one small suitcase, a canvas tote bag, and a coffee she clearly did not like, but kept drinking anyway. We sat across from each other, watching the city disappear behind us. At first, we talked carefully. Nashville was still between us. Then, Amanda pulled a bag of almonds from her tote and offered me some. "You are not allowed to make fun of my travel snacks," she said. "I would never. You once called airport trail mix sad pebbles. It is sad pebbles." She laughed, and something in the space between us loosened. Chicago was cold enough that I immediately regretted the jacket I had packed. Ashley's bookstore was in a narrow building on a busy street, with hand-painted signs in the windows and stacks of books covering every flat surface. Ashley hugged Amanda, then shook my hand. "So you are Luke," she said. "That sounds like Amanda warned you." She did not. She just said you were useful with heavy things. Amanda gave her a look. I said he offered to help. For 2 days, we moved boxes. We carried shelves. We ate cheap sandwiches sitting on the floor because the tables were still wrapped in paper. Nobody there knew Sophie. Nobody knew why Amanda and I might make people stare. We were just 2 people helping a friend, and it was easier than it should have been. Amanda got dust on her cheek from a box of old paperbacks. I pointed it out, and she tried to wipe it away without finding it. Finally, I reached over and brushed it off. She looked at me for a second longer than necessary. Later, we went to a museum because Amanda wanted to see one exhibit before it closed. We disagreed about almost everything inside. She liked a huge abstract painting that looked to me like somebody had spilled expensive paint and decided not to clean it up. "You are impossible," she said. "I am honest." "You think honesty means refusing to enjoy anything confusing. I enjoy plenty of confusing things." She stopped walking and looked at me. I realized what I had said. Then she smiled. That was almost smooth. "Do not tell anyone." That evening, we got lost trying to find a market Ashley recommended. My phone had no signal. Amanda refused to ask for directions, and somehow we ended up 3 blocks from the place we had started. "I plan events for a living," she said, annoyed. "I know. This is embarrassing. It is kind of nice." She looked at me. Getting lost? Not having to know exactly where we are going. Amanda did not answer right away. Then she took my hand. On the second night, after dinner, we went back to the hotel. There was no dramatic moment. No big speech. We sat on the edge of the bed talking about Ashley, the bookstore, the train ride home. Then Amanda touched my face. "I do not want this to happen because we are scared of losing each other," she said. "It will not." "I need you to mean that." "I do." So we stopped talking. It was not rushed. It was not careless. We had spent 6 weeks circling the truth, testing it, arguing with it, trying to decide whether it was too complicated to touch. That night, we made a choice. Afterward, Amanda lay beside me, looking at the ceiling. "What if you want something different in 5 years?" she asked. I knew what she meant. Children, a younger woman, an easier life, a version of the future where she became a chapter I looked back on and explained away. "I cannot promise you a future I have not lived yet," I said. She turned her head toward me. "But I know I do not want to leave something real, because it might get difficult." Amanda held my gaze. "That is not a guarantee." "No, it is not. But it is honest," she nodded once. When we got home, reality was waiting. Ashley posted a photo from the bookstore. It was harmless. Amanda and I were standing in front of a half-empty shelf, both holding boxes, both laughing at something outside the frame. Sophie saw it. Amanda called me before she called her back. "She feels blindsided," Amanda said. Her voice sounded tired. "She thought we were moving slowly." "We were," I said. "I know. But that photo tells a different story." Amanda spoke with Sophie that evening. She did not hide anything. She did not say it was casual just to make it easier. She told her the truth. We were still figuring things out, but we were no longer pretending there was nothing between us. Sophie asked for more distance. Amanda said yes. I did not ask to speak to Sophie. I did not send a message explaining myself. Nothing I said would make the situation less strange for her. A few days later, I told Amanda, "I am not going to make you choose." She looked at me quietly. "She is your daughter," I said. "I understand why she is hurt. I will give her the room she asked for." Amanda's eyes filled, but she did not cry. "Thank you," she said. On the final night of our 6 weeks, there was a knock at my door. Amanda stood in the hallway with a small overnight bag at her feet. For a second, neither of us moved. "I cannot promise this will be easy," she said. "Sophie may need time. My friends may talk. Your friends may talk. That question about the future is still there." "I know." She looked at me for a long moment. "I do not need easy," she said. "I just need to know we are not pretending." I opened the door. She walked inside.